So we are honored to have today a pioneer that has been in the ballroom scene for decades. And if anybody is able to break down the history, it's him. Um, just a little background on me. I'm a Milan. I became a Milan in 1993. I'm not a typical ballroom person that became a part of a house because they were walking balls. I became part of the house because I was videotaping balls. So my contribution to the ballroom community was that I was the man with the camera, videotaping balls from the beginning to the end, getting into the nooks and crannies, checking out the outfits from head to toe, and allowing everyone to be able to get into it now, 30 years later. So tonight we have the pioneer. I have to make sure I get all the titles right because if not, he's gonna read me. Pioneer, diamond icon, lifetime achiever, promoter, historian, activist, three-time Hall of Famer, Kevin Omni. Kevin, unmute yourself. Hi, Kevin.
Hello. Hey, how's everybody? I just feel so good. It's like, you know, half my face is off and half my face is on. I'm sure my production, you know, ALG production will fix that because you got my right side. Thank goodness my best side is showing.
They can see all.
But you can see all of me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
and you look like
you know, I'm old school. Hi, everybody. Hello, how is everyone? It's good to see you. I'm gonna.
So I just wanna share a little story. I met Kevin. He doesn't remember this, but I met him about 30 years ago, and I've known of him. I've known of his legacy. I would be at clubs, and he would be on the stage promoting shows and artists, and I was the person in the masses. So I always admire him as a star, the star that he is. And last week I had the honor of going to his house. I went to visit him. I wanted to, before we did this, I wanted to be able to actually have a face-to-face with him and connect with him on another level in order for us to do this today. So what was beautiful about it is that, you know, I brought food, I brought pernil, I brought Puerto Rican food, pernil, arroz con gandules, mofongo, and he was so happy to have all this Puerto Rican food because he likes to eat just as much as I do. But one of the beauties of sharing with him last week was that he took me back to the 90s when I used to hang out with the Milans at Roger Milan's house, and we were watching balls and we were talking and kikiing with each other. He just took me back there 30 years ago. This is what I was doing, and it was great to be able to connect with him. And, you know, some people believe that when you're a part of a house, you're only socializing and family with the house that you're in. But, you know, he's a perfect example of somebody that it doesn't matter what house you're in, we're all family. We're all here for the same purpose, and it is to keep each other, you know, happy and united. So thank you, Kevin. Thank you for welcoming me to your house. Thank you for being here tonight. It's a true honor.
Oh, thank you. You've made me feel really good. And I'd like to say thank you for inviting me, you and Leighton. And you got people out there, maybe have questions. I want to let you lead the show.
Okay.
Maybe I'll just introduce myself and give them a small bio or small resume, if that's possible.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, firstly, everybody, I just want to share something with you. Last night I had, a bout with depression. And the reason why is because a friend of mine's passed away. I don't know what it was from or what have you, but he's someone that I've been friends with for 41 years. And he's a pioneer of the ballroom. He walked body, he walked masculine face, and he walked realness. And I met him back in 1981. I know some of you may not have been even born then, But having a friend for 41 years, and recently I lost another friend that I had for 40 years in my life, and another one that was 38 years in my life. Now, I come from the pioneering era, which means it's when the house structured balls started. Can we go there, Felix?
Yes, yes, go there.
Okay. You had balls in the 18th century with Queen Marie Antoinette. You had balls in Rome. You had balls in the 20s and the 40s in Harlem. Basically was like the Cotton Club and straight affairs. You had the drag balls of the 50s and 60s. And then came the house structured balls, which started in 1972. And the first house was the House of LaBeija. So we're talking about when the house structure ball started, it was the house of. So we wanted clear that they had balls in the 18th century, they had balls in the 20s and 40s, the drag balls of the 50s and 60s. The ball scene as we know it now, it's called the house structure. Balls were started in 1972, which is called the white era. Um, Yesterday, the passing of my friend, the last time I saw him was in 2019 at the Pioneer Ball. I had no clue as to anything wrong. Um, it just feels like another limb from the tree is cut off. And, you know, when Felix came to my house, we watched the very first videotape of a ball. The very first videotape was called TV Transvestite. And it was in August 1982. And it was given by Dorian Corey and Pepper LaBeija. So that's the first ball that was ever videotaped. My friend
Which,
Makuta, his name
which we're
was
gonna,
Makuta Versace Chanel, who passed away yesterday, was on that tape, Walking Body. He went by the name of Chris Chanel back then. Um, it's hard. It's really hard to just keep losing people and losing people. You know, when I came out, life, you know, was one thing in New York City. It was lights, camera, and action. You went to the clubs, you went to the balls, you just lived life and enjoyed life. Everything was just so simple. In New York City, car fare was 35 cents. Okay. It's now what is it, $2.75? Yeah, but we paid 35-cent car fare. You could go to breakfast and have 2 eggs and sausage or bacon and toast and french fries and coffee for 90 cents.
right.
When you went to a club, you paid, like Better Days, our famous clubs, you paid $5 on a Friday or a Saturday night, and you got 2 drinks for free. So with that being said, I'm trying to give you the background of the 70s. And, you know, when Felix watched this TV transvestite with me, I was telling him out of the 300 people that were in this video, there's only like about maybe 20 of us left. Last night, losing my friend only made me feel it even more because the white era is basically vanishing. I pray that I make it this year in October, 64 years old. Think I look pretty good for 64.
You do,
But
you do.
I'm hanging in there and I'm holding on and I pray to our Heavenly Father that I do make it.
So let's
But
do this. Let's do this. Kevin, let's do this. Let's have a moment of silence for Makuta Chanel. Okay, let's honor him and everybody that we know from that white era that is no longer with us. So everyone, please, let's just take a moment of silence for Makuta.
Try and keep your responses under 3 minutes because you want them to be able to interact. I don't know how long this is.
Okay, thank you, everyone. All right. Kevin, unmute yourself. Okay. Kevin, are you back? Kevin?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can. Okay. So what
Thank
we're
you.
gonna do now, is, speaking of the TV transvestite clip, I'm gonna be showing you clips. And as we're looking at these clips, I would like you to tell us about your experience being there, you know, what you were going through at that time in your life, you know. So all of these clips you've been a part of, and these are clips throughout history. Not only clips, we're gonna show videos pictures as well. So I just want you to tell us and relate anything that these pictures remind you of, the people that are in there, the people that took the pictures, and you know, all that. Okay. So I'm gonna share the screen right now. Let's see.
Oh my God.
Tell us about this.
Well, you know, when you just first started it, person Makuta was the one right there in the red. This was, oh, you know, you ain't right. Okay, this is Butch Queen first time in drag. And there's about 16 people. They didn't get my female name, which was Queen Asia from Brooklyn. They called me Kevin. And I'm actually going to be coming up very soon. You have to look for me. I'm on the left side in an electric blue gown. And this is my first time being in drag. Here I come. You see the beautiful blue gown with the white fur? That's me. I'm going to come back one more time. You know, it was a very good night. It was a lot of fun. It was like when balls were balls. And that was my first time. I couldn't even walk in those heels. I had to practice. Coming out the dressing room was really, here I come. Here I go in that blue. Look at that babe. Look at that babe. First time in drag. I didn't need I didn't need much makeup. I did lipstick and prostitute. And I stuffed my bra with socks. So my tits were socks. And I won first place. That ball was everything. You know, this is the very first ball TV transvestite. It was Miss Pepper LaBeija and Doreen Corey. There were a lot of firsts in this ball. This was the second time they had the first time in the bag. It was in Harlem, and it was at 125th Street. I'm trying to think of the name. I always forget. It was a bingo hall. But, you know, balls back then could be held anywhere and everywhere, you know. But it was a lot of fun, you know. It's unfortunate that most of the people are no longer. That's my friend William Dupree. And he used to do these, oh my God. I haven't seen this part of it in a while, but William was the one who used to write the scandal sheet. Before each ball, we had a scandal sheet. And on the scandal sheet would be someone reading someone or calling them out for an upcoming category or upcoming ball. And William was the secret one who was behind it all. And nobody knew. I knew because we were best friends. A lot of people I can't really tell because it's not clear of the face, you know, and I didn't know everybody. I knew most of the people, but not everybody. We had categories back then that are no longer in existence. This is my friend Michael Princess. I could tell that from the back. Yes. I believe that's Michael Princess. Both him and William are no longer with us. No, I don't think that's Michael Princess. I think Michael Princess had a wife. I can't even see his face. Yes, that's Michael Princess. Michael Princess was faced with performance. Matter of fact, this Brian Omni is an artist, and he did many of magazines. We had a series of magazines called Legends Magazine, which was out of Chicago. And they asked Brian to do the pictures. Miss Reed, up on top left, was the only femme queen in Ballroom that has won face as a man and face as a woman. Nobody else, dead or alive, has ever achieved that. But
Can you
Tennille,
hear me?
huh?
Can you hear me? You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
So the one that you're talking about is Tennille.
Yes, that's Tennille on the top left.
So Tennille Dupree was a face winner as a Butch Queen and then as a femme queen.
And as a femme queen. The only one.
The only one that we have in Ballroom.
It's been over 40 years.
Now,
Okay.
when you were watching, I just have a technical question. When you were watching the video, could you hear the audio?
Yeah.
You could hear the audio. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Of
Okay.
course. If I couldn't
Okay.
hear you, I would say something. But
Because
that's Michael.
I
That's
was asking if you could hear me. I was asking you on the video if that was the first time they had face with performance, or if that was something that was going on for a while.
Well, you know what it is? It's not that it was the first time with face with performance. When Michael Princess started walking, him and Michael Dupree would give you a show because they could Vogue and they had face. So when they started carrying on with face with performance, every time Michael walked, he performed. Michael Princess commanded the floor, and Michael Dupree gave him a run for his money. And but the battle was severe, you know, but it was entertaining, it was uplifting, and you loved it. And you waited for face because you were going to get an interesting battle. It wasn't just going to be, come on down and what have you. You had to carry on. Everybody had a little insignia where, like Brian Omni would walk face, everybody be like back then we used to have the names written down on papers. When you walked the category, you had to sign the sign-up sheet. And when they would call Brian Omni and people would look for him, he would be coming from behind the judges, crawling backwards from underneath the judges' table onto the floor. When I would come and walk, I would pull a chair out, swing it around and sit for a minute and pose. As a matter of fact, I did that last year in 2021, and perform from the chair, from a sitting. Then I had my first face child, Derek Omni, who you'll meet in a little while, who would come out and he just was vibrant and so confident and so secure, do I really have to do this? And he did it one. And, huh?
A lot of people ask me this. This is the early 80s and we already see people doing face performance. Can you tell us from your experience, when was voguing created? What year or what era was when we first started seeing voguing?
Well, let me just say this. Voguing had been going on in the 70s. It all depends on how we want to categorize voguing. Like you have the old way, you have the new way, you have pop, dip, and spin, Excalibur. But before all of that, in the drag balls, there was posing going on. Like we all looked at Paris Dupree as the leader and teacher and first person of Vogue because Paris used to go to Better Days on the back dance floor and pose in the mirror to the beat of the record, giving you poses, switching the hat, turning around, stooping down, and doing little dips and things of that nature, and, giving performance across the floor. I would say Paris Dupree as early as when I first met Paris. Like that was like the end of 74, beginning of 75, before Paris met House of Dupree in 1975.
Okay.
And the rest of the categories, like Old Way, you had performance, the Old Way, you had Excalibur, you had pop, dip, and spin, you had different people, like the pioneers of these categories started developing behind Paris Dupree.
Okay.
You had people like Arms Omni. You had people like Stevie St. Laurent, Dennis St. Laurent, Rodney Ebony was a good example of old way because he used to jump from the balcony into a dip at the Elks Lodge.
Wow.
He was the
Wow.
first one to ever do that. People have copied him. A lot of things people don't understand in the pioneering era. Pioneers are a title. It's not a status. Either you are a pioneer or you're not. There's no deeming a pioneer. Pioneer is a thank you to everybody from the white era from 1972 to 1984 is when all the categories were created and we struggled and sacrificed and, got a chance to really, get the balls on the go,
How do you feel, Kevin, when somebody is given the name pioneer and they're not part of that era?
We ignore them because that's all you can do. The sad part about it is that pioneers is a thank you. Again, thank you to the white era. So why not let the white era have a thank you? You got people from the red era, the trailblazing era. New York City, 1972 to 84 is the pioneering era. But you got people that came in the balls in 1988, 89. Now they want to, say, oh, I'm a pioneer or whatever. No, you're not. And I'm not going to debate with it because, what they do is they try to attach themselves to names from the old school. Just because you know somebody's name, even if you sat down and had a biscuit with them, okay, you're still not a pioneer.
Right, that doesn't make you a pioneer.
All we're trying to do is show love. And like with me going back, losing my friend yesterday, and I'm looking at how small the white era is. Just let us have our title,
Right, I get it. Tell me about this picture.
Oh, that's like 1984. And that's just a few of my trophies. I was just posing in the living room. So a few of the trophies, that's after the beginning trophies from 82 to 84. I see these are the 84 trophies. Yeah, they're the 84 trophies.
Do you
The
remember that
82
night?
trophies are not even there. Huh?
Do you remember that night?
That trophy in the back, well, these are many nights.
Well, I'm saying the night you took this picture.
Yeah, I do.
Where were you off to?
That trophy right there in the back was my executive, and I got an exact duplicate that I won for Face, and it was at R.R. Chanel's ball in 1984, August.
What were your categories?
Wow, my categories were sinister eyes, where you had to have that look, with your eyes looking like you were sinister, like fierce, like you could read somebody with your eyes. Can you see my eyes?
Yes, I can.
Go ahead. Oh, you want to? Okay. So, best dressed man, Butch Queen up in drag, first time in drag, leather versus suede, sportswear, high fashion evening wear, high fashion executive, traveling executive, legendary executive, realness, shopping down Fifth Avenue realness, and I'm forgetting, okay, face over 30, legendary face over 40, icon face over 50, and look, pioneer face.
So how many trophies have you won altogether?
Trophies and awards together. And this goes outside of the balls too. I include my little bowling trophies, my hustle dance trophies, collegiate trophies, working for community services, from the National Action Network with Al Sharpton to GMAD, Gay Men of African Descent, to GMHC, over 300, and I had the number correct last summer. I would say 327.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
Tell us about this picture.
I'm in DC, Washington, DC, at a ball, the very first ball in Washington, DC. And this is before they called me to grace the runway to sit on the judges panel. This was 1986. Again, it was the very first ball in Washington, and it was given by, oh my God, I'm having a brain freeze. It'll come back to me.
And I see the finger waves.
Well, we didn't call those finger waves. See, the females were the finger waves. These were pencil waves. See,
Nice.
the finger waves were like Betty Boop,
Okay.
and they were, you know, they were much wider.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are nice.
Thank you. I couldn't, but that was a hairstyle that had to be kept up. I used to have to wear a silk scarf and all of that, and I wasn't keeping having that.
Tell us about this.
This is Terrell Ebony. He's no longer with us, and that's Brian Omni in the back. They battle at another time. This is Face Over Thursday. And I'm walking. I didn't even really do this before too far, but I was feeling it. So I got up there and did what I had to do. There you go. That's my little Facebook performance. You didn't get the part afterwards. Oh, yes, you did. Thank you. Look at those cheekbones. The thing I like about it is that that's not silicone. That's not in makeup. Some cheekbones. Oh, I got it. And that's my opponent. Anyway, look at those cheekbones. That's what you call snap. No surge, no spills, natural. And you want to know something? Because a lot of people, because of this was taken from the Love Ball. This was my trophies from 1988 to about 1990, 91 or 92.
Tell us about the Love Ball.
The Love Ball, oh my God, it was fantastic. The Love Ball was an AIDS fundraiser, and it was produced by the Design Industry Foundation for AIDS. It was called DIFA. We had two. We had the first AIDS fundraiser in New York City in 1989. Matter of fact, it was my sister's birthday, May 10th, 1989. And the second one was 1991.
You're so good with dates.
Well, yeah, because the month before this was my ball. April 15th, 1989 was the first ball that was ever, or the theme called Legends, Statements, and Stars. It's so much confusion about Legends, Statements, and Stars and LSS, but it's not really that difficult. I came up with the theme. I want to give credit. I did the first mini ball ever in Brooklyn. And I'm giving credit to my friend who passed away, Makuda, did the first mini ball in Harlem. So we both take credit for creating mini balls. Then I turned around and was involved with Legend, Statements, and Stars. Paris Dupree was Paris is Burning. Avis was Autumn and Winter. Pepper and Dorian was Harlem Fantasy. Richard Ebony was Scandal Part 1 and 2, and him and Larry. And then I decided to do the LSS, Legend, Statements, and Stars, Part 1, which I did all the way to Part 10, before I changed my ball theme to Lifetime Achievers, Icons, Legends, Statement Stars, and Status Ball. Part 1 I did to Part 5. This is my famous picture with Derek Omni over here in the upper right corner. and his sister Dana right beneath him, and Brian Omni, the artist, on the right, and Colin and Greg and Brucey. In this picture, there's so far only one person not with us, and that's Brucey. This picture was put in the daily newspaper. This was from the first fundraiser for AIDS that we did. By the way, that ball that was in April, Legislations of Stars Part 1, was the prelude to the fundraiser May 10th. And because of it, they had VH1, we had MTV come to the ball. We made the daily news, but we didn't make the daily news for differ. We made the daily news because we were at the Palladium the next year, which was another fundraiser for Spike Lee. You know, the House of Omni did very well. We made magazines. We've been in every major newspaper in New York City, the Daily News. We've been in the New York Times. I was in the New York Times 3 times. I was in the Village Voice 3 times. This is one of the many Omni picnics. We've had about 20 of them. All good food, water balloons, water guns. Just acting crazy. We even had people like KRS-One come through and stop at, and say hi.
Everybody that's there?
Can I mention everybody that's there?
Can you name them?
Okay, let me. Okay, I'm in front. In back of me on the left is Greg. And back of him is Troy. The child on the left over here, he passed away, and I forgot his name. His name, we call him Bella with the baseball cap. He passed away too. Where's my glasses? That's the problem. Ooh, you threw me off. See, now I had to put some glasses on. Okay, so this is Greg, that's Brian. This is Bolin Ho, who was my co-worker who sat at the door and collected my coins when I gave a ball. And she was able to tell the difference between a phony 20 and a counterfeit, yeah. And this one is Tanya Omni, and this young lady over here, I don't know. She looks like Tanya. I don't know who she is. Maybe Derek knows. That's Michael Haynes, Ebony. That's Muhammad Omni. Oh my God. There's Derek Omni right there. You gonna make it bigger?
I can't at this point because it's a video.
Okay, so he did this side. I don't know who that is right there. Derek will probably know.
Bring in Derek.
Come on, Derek.
Tell me again what year this was?
Stay there.
That's Brucey.
Stay there.
That's Brucey?
Right here?
No, that's Brucey. Who's behind Brucey?
Oh, I don't know who that is.
None of us know who he probably was somebody that came to eat our food.
Okay.
We always had throughout the years.
Hello, how you doing?
I got Derek Omni here. He's been a member of the House of Omni for 41 years, and he's been in balls as long as me.
Welcome.
I only got maybe two years over him, but he's the first one today in 2022 member in the House. We lost Grandpa. Nobody came before Derek other than Sherelle and Grandpa and Grandma, whoever that was going to be, because Grandpa got tired of this one and that one. So you never knew who was the grandmother of the house. But then Derek came. Yeah, Derek. We had Dr. Blood.
I brought him.
Know this, Kevin, but we're related also, right? Because we Milan descend from the Omnis.
Okay, yeah. So why don't I just talk about real quick? The Roger and Terry came to me and said, "Dad, we want to, be mother and father in the House of Milan," and I gave them my blessing. Devin Elite came from Omni. Danielle Everybody calls her Danielle Revlon, but Danielle Revlon came from Omni. She was Danielle Omni, then Danielle Princess, then Danielle Revlon. Who else?
Anjanae.
Oh, Anjanae was an Omni before she became a Mugler. Then she became a Milan. No, she became a Milan and a Mugler and then went back to Milan or whatever. So Anjanae. And I usually don't say like their names like that. I'll just say the house was born out of Omni. Because sometimes you get these people, okay, that, you know, oh, you waited till I got famous and you want to claim me. And I laugh at that because I got over 300 trophies. I've given over 44 events. Why do I want to claim you for importance? Like, I don't get it.
Tell us about this picture. Tell us about this picture.
That was 1985. And I had won Face and High Fashion Evening Wear at Jean Ebony Pendarvis's ball in Brooklyn. And I won another trophy. I walked 3 times that night. But one of the trophies I threw back, and I don't want to get into that. Because they gave me a first place to someone that they just was trying to, you know, whatever they were trying to do with that person. I let it go now.
Tell us about the shoe.
Well, there was a store on Broadway and 44th Street called Apollo. It was between 44th and 45th. And it was Chinese people. And you could go there and get an outfit made. So I had them make the jacket, the pants, put the sequins on the side, and make the slip-ons. They were just slip-ons, and I was wearing a black patent leather Bally shoe when I won the trophies.
Wait, okay, thank you, baby.
Oh, he playing dirt going on.
What's about this one?
Friends, this was the night that we were in battle. We gave them a battle, but we weren't walking. It was me, Michael Princess, and my nephew. And this is how we used to carry. So we were giving an example of kids that we can walk. And that's Stuart Ebony on the microphone. And that on the side. I think that's, I'm not sure. This was 1993. And we were at this club in Taylor Street area. I forgot the name of it. But they were doing like, you know, girls there. But they were also doing like regular parties. They used to have this party group called Your Motion. And guys from the Motion. Count Marie. You ever heard of Count Marie? From Brooklyn? He was Your Motion. He gave the party. But that night we was having fun. I believe that's really Kevin Omni. See, they don't call my name. You heard it? And again, privilege, and even afterwards, to continue to ride on. I don't know if I was paid for over the Muhammad war. Oh, Derek has never seen this. He's giving everybody a treat. And see, Michael played and he did his thing. But you know, I really had to lay down in my royal blue suit. And I wasn't really too happy about it. Because see, he's wearing all black. and I had on blue, so I had to be a little bit careful because when I came to a ball, a mini ball, or a mini ball, I was always done, you know. And you know, I was Wall Street out, so I bought so, and that's how I got it. But laying on the floor on the ball wasn't all. But we had fun that night. And then the little battle after that came for people came for Whitney, and Whitney paid it no mind and passed him by and brings it straight to me. Now, I'm not saying anything by that. I'm just giving you the story. So now there's Whitney. Whitney pays him no mind and brings it to me. But you know what? He performed for you. You know, that movie didn't need a legendary icon. You didn't even need to be called a pioneer. All you had to do was hit the floor, and if the kids went up, you got the feeling of the importance. And like I explained to people, back in the beginning, when they had an example, the House of Ebony, 1982, September, the category was, 83, September was called Ebony Scandal Part 2. They had the category Best Dressed Man, which was a category for heterosexuals. And what they were looking for was a Kevin Omni look. So I felt privileged that my name was an example to what they wanted. The same thing happened with RR back in 84 when she did executive. It was, this is the category we want to see, Kevin Omni versus William Dupree. So when your name made the flyer, and then I was on several for Face, that's all you needed. You know, when Eric Dupree hit the floor, the kids went up. When Avis hit the floor, the kids went up. You did not have to
be an icon.
You have to worry about being deemed a status or whatever. This picture, hold on, because I'm getting ready to knock my cousin LG, okay? He wants me to explain things, so please stop whining me. He's whining me. I don't like to be whined. All right, this picture is the Omnis. This was 2020, right?
Uh-huh.
And was it 2020 or 2019? 2019. Because we were all here and we celebrated Tanya's birthday. So we celebrated Tanya Omni's birthday. My son, Kai Milan, is taking the picture.
Right.
That's cover. That's Tanya Omni. That's Muhammad. That's Father Michael Omni. That's Dana Omni. That's Derek right there. We're always together. Us three. We're the beginning.
Family.
Yeah, me. Well, now I can't just say me, Derek, and Brian, and Michael too, and then Muhammad as well. Listen, you can't have a family without Muhammad, okay? But I always tell this story. Muhammad may feel some kind of way. Grandma LaRose put Muhammad in the house, right? So when I come downstairs and I'm getting ready to feed everybody, I'm like, well, who are you? And they said, well, LaRose brought him home, adopted. And so I tell them, LaRose. So this is Derek, Muhammad, and me and Michael in California at the Omni 25th anniversary in Hollywood. And the New York Times traveled all the way from New York to Hollywood, California to put us in the New York Times and do a whole major story on our 25th, which we also had the whole story of our 20th anniversary in the Village Voice. So we've been pretty blessed, and I guess it comes from hard work. Like a lot of people don't understand, like they'll say, oh, well, so-and-so's a pioneer, so-and-so's a pioneer. But that's me and Muhammad, and that was last year, 2021, my birthday, October. And we were at this club in West Orange. Muhammad is my old school, old way, and he's so intelligent. He has a website. coming out of a pit, and it said my son passed on the ball. If anybody wants to go to next ball will be May 7th this year, 2022, in Richmond, Virginia. Yeah, so I'm doing this at the age of 62. Cousin LG is doing the videotape. ALG Productions. That's my agility. That muscle in the leg, okay? Let me tell you something. When you can dip at 62, and I still can dip in this group when I was 64, wow. But I want to know, man, you got me playing in the clip. Again, high school is coming up next
2 years
20.
of age. And I still can dip.
There you go.
Next category, open to all sneaker versus sneaker. This is
Okay. This was 2015 Icon Phase. And I'm proud to say I won. Because the envelope was very nice. That was some nice coin. That was a $500 category. You hear Miss Jackson, I got on my feet. And here's someone I miss very much, Michael Dupree. Throughout the years, me and Michael, we've had a lot of moments. I've had moments with all of them, Michael Dupree, Michael Princess, and it's hard because we're all gone, but this is the essence of I These are quantity characters. January 2015. The Brian in 2015. That's a good deal. I can't wait to see what the kids going to ask. What needs to Q&A?
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Category closed. DJ from the music for a second and give me a family beat. Ladies and gentlemen, please understand when you are battling, please make sure you battle a little bit in the middle. We have a very high.
No, I missed the New York Awards board.
When I say high, I mean high. High definition. And it's about to seal you and see what's being done with it. So Miss Name, get your motherfucking life. But there's two of them. Are you ready? We already know. Michael Dupree and Kevin Omni is going to give us a battle. A battle that the young kids will remember for years from now. Let's do it. Wow. Sell it. Sell it.
Michael wasn't selling it like he used to do.
I'm here to take things that I did it, shut and run, big hard. And I take the wait. I'm here to take things, I'm sure it ain't tight like this. Shit and ready, good. I've been shitty, been serving, been eating, been talking, been quiet, been ready, win, and won. Good. Great, bring me my prayer. Great, bring me my prayer. I've been something great. Shit on the list and something great. I got faith, I got brother, keep got brother, keep got brand. I got this, I got something, I got black, great.
Derek missed it. I'm not just saying that one guy. Me and Michael could play Ballroom. Missed it. Oh, I love this.
Omni, 2, 3. 2 Omni. 3 Omni. 4 Omni. 5 Omni. 6 Omni. Omni Stain. Grand Prize. Ultra.
Nice split the money with him.
Did you battle, Brian?
No, we wouldn't. What? Oh, there's cousin LG. Look. Oh my goodness.
Give a shout out to Cousin LG.
Huh?
Let's give him a shout out.
Yeah, he's giving you a shout out, LG. Oh, cousin LG.
So I know how important family is, not only in ballroom, but also
Yeah.
your true family, right?
This
So
one right here.
yeah, I
This
wanted
one right
to throw in
there.
the family as well, so that way you could pay homage to your family, your real family. Tell us about this picture.
That's my twin. That's my twin, LG. I want him to see it. That's my mama, and that's me. I would spit an image of her. Like she spit me out. Yeah. Well, what can I tell you? She's no longer with me. I lost her to COVID. But she lived a good life. She lived into her 90s. And she was something else. She came to my balls. She went to like 3 of my balls. She came to the Omni barbecues, and she went out to Better Days Club with me. And she talked about men kissing men. And she didn't say it in a low voice because my mother was not a person that showed any tact. She was loud when she wanted to be, you know. But my mom's was everything. I miss her each and every day. Oh, there goes Felix. Oh, you got Eric. All right. This is what I'm talking about.
Eric,
Yes. Hey, Felix.
there was another video that I wanted to show, but I wasn't able to put it in, which was the battle that you had with Hector Extravaganza. You want to talk about it a little bit?
Now, you know that was the one.
I know I missed putting it on this one, but tell us about that battle. Tell us about the controversy behind it.
Well, it wasn't really, you know something, Hector's no longer with us, and I'm gonna honor his memory for him being a sweetheart towards me. He always,
Me
you
too.
know, treated me in the greatest way. He just was like one of those people, like, you know, like you see in the movies, get away from me, you're bothering me. You know, one of those. So it wasn't a negative or vicious thing. Hector always just like wanted my attention. He asked me about 3 times to give a ball with him. And, you know, I know that had I gave the ball with him, it would have been totally successful. But I just didn't have the time to give a ball with him because, you know, like I had Omni members who were with me forever, and I couldn't just go outside of Omni and give a ball with someone else. Even I gave the last status ball with Michael Haynes, Ebony, who's cousin Mike to me. But Michael also was Omni as well. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I gave the status ball with Wolfgang and him. Me and Derek has given balls together. Me and Brian Omni have given balls. Me and Michael Wooten, Omni, the father, has given balls together. But Hector, you know, I think Hector was a
He
sweetheart.
was.
And when he moved from Brooklyn to the Bronx, he would call me often. And he said, I know I'm getting on your nerves. You know, and I said, Hector, for as long as you stay on the phone, why don't you just come out for a visit? But that battle that we had at the Legends Ball, what my it was a problem because the category was legendary face, and Hector hadn't won, maybe won 1 or 2 trophies for face, and how are you going to walk legendary face? That to me is not fair for those who have been walking and walking and battling and battling. You just come up and, you know.
I'm gonna pull up the video.
You got it. Yes, that's the second Legends Ball in New York City, 1997. Oh man.
How does it feel to see these videos after so many years?
Yeah. Now here comes Hector, and I was reading Hector because the category was everlasting, eternal, face forever, and you're the king forever. And he came out with his Burger King now. So they made me battle like. I've never seen Hector. love that. Look.
What were they saying there?
I said she ain't been walking. So what I said, you can't be walking legend just from one sacrifice to one wrong. And then I grabbed the microphone and I started telling her when I first met.
What was he saying?
It's the crystal ballroom. I was saying, giving her when I won faith.
What was he saying?
That she won it, give it to her. That's the call of all. Attitude. But see, that part is when I first started around, I said, bye, girl. So, so I is there anything you want to ask me other than that? I can't hear you. You get mute on your head. You muted yourself.
There you go.
Oh.
There was one thing that you said, hold on. When we were talking last week, that you wish you would have done to Hector while he was alive. What was that? Do you remember?
I wish I would have gave him a little bit more time. And I wish I would have, like towards the end, we were talking a lot. And when he passed away, it was like we were supposed to do some things together. But I don't remember exactly specifically if there was one particular thing that I thought of at that time. Because look, you get my age, you'll understand. You can say one thing one week and the next week, no, let me stop because the kids will be like, Kevin got dementia or something. No, but I miss Hector, and I wish I could have spent more time with him. Me, him, and his brother, Juan La Perla, we were supposed to do things together, events and everything. And it didn't just have to do with balls because Juan, wanted to open up this little nightclub in Newark. And, me and Hector were willing to work and, make it a club and make it a place to go and happen. And then he passed away.
You told me that you were hoping to give him an award.
And give him an award. He definitely deserved an award.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
He busted his butt, and he went through a lot of opposition because I don't want to tell house gossip, because he's gone now. So that gossip doesn't really, it's not worth hearing. It's like I just want people to know that when we went to balls in the beginning, yeah, it didn't matter what house you were in. When we went to the village, everybody was in the same house. Everybody was supportive of each other. We had to be. During the pioneering era, the reason why we had to be is because if I didn't like you and I didn't go to your ball wasn't going to be successful. We needed each other. The House of LaBeija needed Pendarvis, Dupree, Christian, Princess, Omni, Ebony, Chanel.
Speaking of LaBeija.
Lenny. Yeah, LaBeija. We all needed each other.
Speaking of LaBeija, can you tell me, because you lived to meet a person, somebody who a lot of people, especially people that are on the Zoom today, would have wanted to have met her. You met Crystal LaBeija. Can you tell us about her?
Well, I remember the first time that Crystal really got my attention. She walked S&M Bad Girl at Paris Dupree's ball. And she came out back then, I'm talking about 1980. For you to have patent leather, you had to be a rich bitch. You had to be a Diane Carroll and a Joan Collins from Dynasty. And Crystal had a black patent leather outfit, shorts. She had the whip. And I remember her coming down the runway, popping that whip. Are you there, Felix?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Because you disappeared. And yeah, she came down the runway popping that whip. And she commanded the category. She commanded everything. Like, a lot of people don't seem to understand this. Lottie was the one who founded the House of LaBeija, okay? And she made Crystal the mother. Now, the thing that is confusing is some people don't know how to add. They don't know how to calculate. I don't know if they have a GED diploma, nor do I care. It's not my responsibility to educate, other than tell a story. When Miss Crystal walked the pageant in The Queen, everybody keeps getting this confused. When they see that movie, The Queen, and her talking about she wasn't looking lovely tonight, that was a pageant. When you look at the credits, it says Crystal from Manhattan. It does not say Crystal LaBeija. The word LaBeija meant beauty. So if they called her, if there was any calling of LaBeija, they were just calling her beautiful. But the actual house did not start until 1972, when Lottie made Crystal the mother. And Lottie, wait a minute, technically, if you go to Harlem Fantasy, the first ball ever videotape, you'll hear Pepper say, "What am I in the house?" And then she don't even call Crystal the mother. She calls Crystal something else. I don't know if that's the Empress or the princess of the house, but Crystal still wasn't even carrying around the title of mother, because Lottie was, I'm gathering, mother.
Right.
When I first met Crystal in person was when she judged the first House of Ebony ball. It was 1982. It was called Ebony Scandal Part 1, September 1982. I walked that ball and won grand prize for realness, Butch Queen realness. And that's an honor within itself to win at an Ebony ball, which is a realness house of today and was yesterday. And when Crystal gave me, Crystal was a judge. It was at the Cat Video Gallery, which was across from Mount Morris Park on 5th Avenue and 124th. And that's where the first Hall of Mini Ball was too, what McCootie gave.
Tell me the houses that existed at that time. In 1982, what houses were
You had the House of Plenty.
Oh, yeah.
You had the House of Boutique. You had the House of Chanel, Pendarvis, Princess, Christian. You had the house of LaBeija. You had the house of, you had other houses that came in and left. But in you're talking about when that ball was in 82, you had the house of, well, we said Ebony.
Wasn't there a house also of Banji?
No, House of Banji didn't stay long. They were in 1978 going into 79 and became Ebony.
Okay.
So the House of Banji was Larry. And then he just turned it into Ebony with Richard. But they didn't walk balls. You know what I'm saying? But they were known. It's the same thing like the House of Extravaganza really didn't come into effect until Carmen started walking. And Carmen, she would tell everybody her first ball was my ball in 1983. Oh, and I want to clear something up because I like to take this opportunity for whoever may see this in the future. There are so many problems in ballroom because of confusion, social climbers, people that state things and they don't even have their facts straight. And all they have to do is ask. All they have to do is ask. They could ask me, they could ask David, they could ask Junior, they could ask Terry Chanel, they could ask all these people, but instead they'll put out the wrong information. Okay? Getting back to Crystal. So, and I'm going to go back there too, because I like doing that. Make you wait a minute. Crystal gave me a 10 for realness. So I won grand prize realness at the house of Ebony's first ball. And after I walked and won my trophy in cash, someone went and told her, you know, he just won Butch Queen and Drags. She was too through. She said, if I would have known that, he wouldn't have got. And I just looked at her. You know what I'm saying? And so we didn't have a bad thing. She just like I can't help it. You know, I gave you I gave you what you wanted. Bring it, right. I bought it. All right. Yes, I was just up in a dress. Okay. At a LaBeija ball. How about that? So the funny part is I did this just like Tennille Reed Dupree was the only femme queen who won Faces of Butch Queen and Faces of Femme Queen. I did it like this. I walked Butch Queen first time in drag, telling you I'm a woman, winning. Then I walked realness and told you I was not gay, I was a real, and won. And then walked best dressed man, which was a heterosexual category, and told you I was a straight man. So I went from a woman to being real to a straight man. Nobody has never done that, and nobody never will, because they don't have those categories anymore. But getting back to
and you still go to balls. You still go to balls, right?
Who?
You.
When?
I'm saying now you still go to balls. So from the balls that you go to now, right? What categories do you miss that we had back in those days that you don't have anymore?
They don't have a lot of the categories. They don't have leather versus suede. They don't have high fashion evening wear because they kind of like took best dressed man, best dressed woman, which were two separate categories, and two opportunities for people, you know, the guys to go and compete and the females. Now they made it one, best dress. And then they made categories like high fashion evening wear a part of best dress. Then you don't have, you got American runway, and a lot of them don't do European runway, or has it changed the European bazaar? See, we had punk rock versus new wave. We had bazaar versus space age illusion, which the House of Omni was famous for. That was my grand prize for the first 2 years, the first two balls I gave in 83 and 84. Here I go back to remembering something. Let me make this clear. Someone just said recently, I don't even know, it might have been you, that the House of Fields said that they were the first ones to bring the balls downtown.
Nope.
When I have to repeat these things, sometimes it gives me a little acid reflux, a little acid indigestion. The House of Fields came into the balls as early, let's give them 1986.
That's too early.
That's very early.
That's too early.
I think they came in 88.
Absolutely.
But
I
let's
had my cellar coat
let's
back
just
then.
throw them in 86. Let's just throw it.
Okay.
I gave the first downtown Midtown ball in 1983. It was at a club called Studio. The address was 225 East 86th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue.
It's never been
October
done.
the 8th on my birthday,
It's never been done before.
1983.
That's right.
It's even in the first AIDS fundraiser storyline. Kevin brought the balls down. Not only did I pioneer bringing the ball change from Harlem to Midtown, I pioneered the time change. Balls were at 5 a.m. I'm the first one to have doors open up at 10 p.m. Okay? Just like mini balls. Nobody put mini ball together until Kevin Omni did it in Brooklyn and Makuta did it in Harlem. Simultaneously at the same time. Okay. Another thing, so I pioneered that. I pioneered bringing a different audience into the ballrooms because people from Barbizon modeling and Ford models and stuff like that, nobody was going to no balls at 5 o'clock in the morning but us nuts. You know, we riding in from Brooklyn to Harlem on the West Side Highway, watching the sun come up, going to a ball. Or if you had energy and you really wasn't going to walk, but you wanted to go to the ball, you left the club at 5 a.m. and went to the balls from Better Days on 50th and 8th Avenue. You just took a cab up to Harlem. What prided me, like a lot of people, I feel good about telling the history that I know. You know what I'm saying? But we have all these people, social climbers. We got people that say they're historians. I'm not going to say you're not a historian if you want to be one, even though you didn't come to the balls until 1986. And you're telling my story. And you're telling the story that I lived. There's nothing wrong with that. But just get the story right.
Right.
That's all anybody asks. We don't want misrepresentation of the community, and we don't want false information. You know, I have to correct people. Some people said, I won't mention names. Oh, the awards balls started in 1986 in New Jersey. No, they didn't. They started in 85 in New York. I had to make that correction. House of Chanel or Harold. What else is the next thing?
Right? We're glad that you're still here. I'm saying we're glad that you're still here to be able to clarify a lot of misinformation.
Oh, I got some more for you, baby. See this color I'm wearing?
Right.
White era. And just about a month ago, they're starting to talk about the era before the white era is now called the gold era.
And what era is that?
And the person that I'm talking about that gave the misinformation about the awards ball is now saying there's a gold era. So I wore gold and white.
I hear you.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. They make stuff up as it goes. If you don't know the right people to ask, you'll listen to anything. And then you got people titling people pioneers. Like,
yeah.
You know, I'm going to talk about it. I was supposed to do a Zoom prior to this one. And I refused because of the misrepresentation. I'm not going to sit up there and be on a flyer and you got somebody you're calling a pioneer or historian when they're not. And again, I'm not saying I don't think you are or not a historian, but if you have the wrong information and you're giving out the wrong information, then you're no historian as far as I'm concerned. And you can't tell me what I lived and what I've seen. You know what? I could, get, and so now all of a sudden you're talking about the gold era. Like, this just came up a month ago. So now you want to confuse people even more.
Well, you know what's coming after that, right? The platinum era, which never happened.
But wait a minute, I'm going to seal it right now. Hold on, because I'm academically inclined. Even if there is a golden era, the white era started in 1972 for the house structured balls. So you're saying the gold era is before the white era, but that would mean that the gold era belongs to only drags. Because that's all it was before the white era, was drag balls, not the house structure ball that we're in. So let's go. Hey, you go. A, B, C, then D. Well, the white era, 1972 to 1984. So if your gold era comes before 1972, those are drag balls. And thank you for giving them the love. But it's not the house structure balls. So stop confusing the kids. The kids that just come out last week, they see this stuff, they don't know whether to go up, down, or around. You know, like it's almost like being on a virtual crystal meth high. That's what I'm going to call it. And then you got people, I'm just going to say this is my favorite thing. Now, whether people figure it out that this is what I'm talking about, then you got people that complain because I laugh at some of their craziness. Like you want to act like you knew this person and that person, and you're putting stories up that you're plagiarizing. You know, like Marcel Christian wrote a lot of stories, and it's funny, like I see things. Oh, well, you know what? I'm not a phony. Swerve Magazine. That's all I'm going to say. A lot of stuff, like the articles talking about Avis or whoever, was a lot that Marcel put out. I wrote a lot of stories. It's funny how you see these people that say they went to balls in 1986, but they really didn't start coming to balls until 2013 and 14. But now all of a sudden, they were in balls. And I told them you must have been in a dark corner somewhere where the light bulb wasn't screwed in. Now, I titled this person, since I can't open up the magazines and didn't have some kind of, you know, lawsuits against me. All you have to do is remember your history, whether it be Hispanic, Puerto Rican, Black heritage, a clue, Black heritage. Or you could just remember the organ grinder, the little monkey with the hat is about this big, and just remember that social climber's a beautiful person, even though he's a little monkey with the hat, organ grinder. He's the one that holds the cup around. I've named him Coco the Wonder Monkey.
Okay.
Coco.
On that note, I want to take advantage also of the people that are on this Zoom. If they have any questions to ask Kevin, Leighton, do you have any questions for Leighton? I want to open it up to people who have questions.
Oh, not Leighton. Leighton gonna get me?
Yeah, I do, and so does Teo. Do you want to go first?
Yes, please. Well, to start off, Kevin, thank you so much again for tonight. It was just really lovely just listening to even more of your stories. And I do have a question for you. What would you say was your most defining moment in your ballroom journey and why?
Great question.
Wow.
That's a really good question.
I'm gonna make it simple. I was on a radio show. Matter of fact, I'm one of the first to do ballroom radio, which was called the Ian Show. And afterwards, many other shows followed. And I was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, went to Penn State University because I'm the assistant director / producer of the documentary, How Do I Look? And by the way, please, y'all get a hold of How Do I Look? Because it's a better quality film. And no, I'm not saying Jenny Livingston's film wasn't what it was, but we all know I'm not supposed to say that. But you'll love How Do I Look? You get in touch with me or Wolfgang Bush for a DVD. All right. So this particular night, since I had to go to Penn State to do a screening of How Do I Look, I wasn't going to be on the show. So me and, God bless his soul, Ross Infinity and Wolfgang, and I'm trying to think who else it was. It may or may not have been Luna. I think it was Luna. No. It was Benji Ninja. And we were in the hotel rooms, and so I decided to listen to the show that I'm usually on. And some girl came on there. She was transgender. She said, "Oh, is Kevin Omni on the show tonight? Is he on the show tonight?" And I'm like, wow, they're asking for me. So Kai, my son, Kai Milan says, oh, he's, in Pennsylvania, blah, 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 doing a screening for How Do I Look at Penn State. And so I called in and I said, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, well, who's this young lady that wanted to talk to me? And she said, oh, I just wanted to tell you something. She says, I love you. And don't ever stop teaching because some of us are really listening. And that touched my heart. It really touched my heart. And, somebody also asked me, what would your legacy be? How many trophies you won? How many balls you gave? Because, and I'm not being shady because I'm proud of what I did. I worked hard. When I wanted to do something, I had to do overtime to get the extra money. I did it. 43 events and then 2 online events, make it 45 events I've given. And, we're not talking about the fact that I don't owe nobody anything. We're not going to talk about those balls where there was a little bit of confusion towards the end. I'm going to talk about a legacy where, well, it won't be my trophies. It won't be my how many balls I gave. It'll be my burial fund. I decided that prior to my burial fund this year will make 10 years. And what happened was the same film we were talking about, TV Transvestite, 30 years later, they want to do an anniversary, Simone and McKelly, the directors. And they did it in Harlem, New York, and they had me host it because I was one of the people that was at the ball. And at the end of the night, they came and gave me and Wolfgang, my buddy Wolfgang Omni Bush, from How Do I Look, a check to start the Kevin Omni Burris Funeral Fund. So I think that, because prior to that, I used to have to do parties and clubs. I'm also an icon in the New York City nightlife. I've hosted every major party. I brought out people from Little Kim to all the R&B singers at all the clubs. That's something, and I've even had for my 40th birthday, Lolita Holloway singing Love Sensation, putting my name in the song, dance with me on stage. I remember bringing out Rochelle Fleming for my 50th, and I went to walk away after I said, put your hands together. She turned around and said, Kevin Omni, it's your birthday. It's not over. And I started crying, okay? My 60th, I walked into the Happiness Lounge in Brooklyn. I got about 9 cards, I believe, all with $60 in it, okay? This birthday that just passed last year, when I turned 63, after having celebrities, I've even had Melba Moore, okay? I've had Colonel Abrams, house people. I've, seen it all, but I used to do fundraisers like that night to raise money for people that didn't have insurance. So that was before the Kevin Omni Burris Funeral/Burial Fund. And you know what? So now that I have that, that's what I want to be remembered as. You know what? Kevin has always done something for everybody, regardless to how many trophies he won, how many balls he's given, not owing anybody a dime. And I got some beautiful people in my life. I got Derek Omni, the House Omni. I want y'all to talk to him and ask him some questions about his beginning and why he became one of my best friends. Now some people will say friends, some people will say best friends, but Kevin Omni has been shady, and I'm shady because my mother was shady, and my grandmother had 8 kids, okay, and grandma was a beautiful person, but all of her kids are shady, okay. If they like you, they like you. If they don't, you'd know it, okay, because they pay you none.
That's the point.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. And I got people like him, and I got my cousin, we closer than close. He's doing the wind up thing, and I'm going to take my something and throw it over there. But I just wanted to let you know that, yeah, it's that girl telling me that keep on teaching, and it's that burial fund that, because most of the kids don't have families or they don't have insurance. I can't begin to tell you, I lost over 600 of my friends to the AIDS epidemic. And now, since COVID, I don't even know if they died from COVID. I don't know what they died from, but it's been about 20 people, and my mother and my aunt dying 3 months behind her, you know?
How do you cope with all that?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. So this is how, and mind you, I worked 20 years on Wall Street. Stress, anxiety, working with the New York Stock Exchange, VPs talking to you any kind of way. And I also was the token, this is ironic, the token black. Everybody's Caucasian, and I'm the only black. I think out of 20 years, I got 2 Colombians in the office, but I troubleshoot circuits for systems and stuff. Dealing with that, and the beginning, like 1985, I went out to my first venture in 1973. I went to this place called the Newcomers Manor on Fulton Street in Brooklyn. It was a cabaret style club. You come, you bring your liquor, you bring whatever, and you watch a show. Mostly it were drag shows. And those drag queens had to take those outfits off. They couldn't come outside like that or they'd be arrested. Okay. And I used to sit there, and then they'd come out and mess with couples and act like they were with the husband the night before and all type of stuff, and come over to me, and I'm like, oh, please don't spook me. Don't let nobody know that I'm gay. Please don't look at me, you know. Very in the closet. I forgot where I was going. No, I didn't get spooked. But now, what was the question again? What was?
How did it make you feel?
How do you
Oh. So by the time 1985 came, so I lived 12 years without AIDS being like, who the hell is that? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There were people that passed away in 82, 83, but they started really dying in 1985.
Yeah.
And now it's 19, and I got this fear and phobia. I'm on Wall Street. I'm wondering if something's going to happen to me. I'm losing people left and right. Nobody gave me a book on how to act or respond. Wear and tear. So I'm going to be honest. I went through I want to escape, and I did drugs. I was a functional addict, which does not make it better. I went to work every day because, that was the only way I was going to be able to get high. I had a strong family. All of them are in law firms, legal. And so when I had to tell a lie, I had to really tell a lie because I was prosecuted. I had the district attorney living with me. My younger sister be like, well, if you said so-and-so, and I'd be like, why don't she leave me alone? Then here come my older sister. But I think, and I'm like, ain't nobody asked you what you think, but I went through, thank God I had the love. And then my mother go, you just went there, okay, I did it, all right, I did it, Derek had to put up with some of my nonsense, but a lot of stress, but he stood by my side, and there was times that, I felt like I hurt him, and, I know I did. He used to sit there and worry about me like, you're the one I look up to. Pull yourself together. And I'm like, he made me sick too. But I never, ever not produced. It never kept me from producing.
Kevin always came through, period.
No matter what.
When we've had these amazing events, the Love Ball was huge. I mean, we were judged by Giorgio Armani, like it was top designers judging that category, and the Love Ball, both of them,
and this the artistic one.
We won. I have the trophy,
but the trophy is how much? About over $3,500.
It's a lot of money.
It's over $3,500. The trophy itself.
Yes, but Kevin, Kevin was going through his times, but whenever it counted, he was right there.
But guess what? So Felix is probably saying, that's not what I asked you. So I'm going to come back and mess with him. So to talk about how I cope with all of that, I started going to therapy in 2000. And I just talked to my therapist this past Wednesday. So for 22 years, I've been in therapy. And I'm not ashamed. And people say, well, what does it do for you? I said, I could be worse. That's my answer. I could be worse because there was no rule on how to handle losing your friends from AIDS. There's no rule on how to handle losing your mother. I had my mother for 62 years. I miss her. And my mother was real as they come. I used to tell her, "Ma, give me some money," just to mess with her.
Got
This
it.
was 6 months before she died. She said, "I ain't got no money." I said, "Yes, you do." And I go in her bra like this and say, "You got money up here in your titties." Me and her had that type of relationship.
We have another question. We have another question from Bazi.
Hey, Bazi.
Bazi, are you there? Your phone, you're muted. Want to unmute yourself?
He was there.
He was there. You just made him disappear.
He says it's here.
Bazi.
Yeah, he's texting, but he's writing in the message.
In the chat.
Speak louder, sorry. So what was your question?
His question was, why the color of Pioneer? Why was the color of Pioneer white? We know after white we have red, then the blue era. Is there any more names after the blue era?
Oh yeah, I mean the last era that I remember was when I did the Pioneer Ball in 2019, and that was the orange. I don't know the color that they made behind orange, but you know what? I gave the person who made the color system the benefit of the doubt, and I accepted the white era because this is the color scheme that they put together. I don't always want to be controversial. I'm only controversial because now you want to throw a gold in there. Look, you're doing too much. You know how when your grandmother see the grandkids and they be like, "Sit down, you're doing too much." That's what I want to tell him, Coco the Wonder Monkey, and the child that just recently threw shade by telling me that they heard about everybody else's side to the Pioneer thing and then wanted me to be a part of a Zoom to make her look good.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is, and I did see something come up with her having done an interview, but you know what? My thing is, I don't care. You know, I'm just real. You do an interview, you did the Zoom. I took myself out of it because I didn't want to misrepresent the community and you giving titles away like you're entitled to do so when you came out in the 90s. And then you do this other interview looking like you just took a hit of cocaine. You know, like, pull yourself together, you know?
We
And
have
still not mentioning names, but everybody knows what I'm talking about.
good. We know who you are. I have
Yeah.
another question.
Why would anybody? This is the problem with Ballroom. Everybody wants to change the stories. Everybody wants to be more than they are. And there's nothing wrong with being where you are
Mhm.
and what you've accomplished. I've had people go behind me and do a live to talk about, "Oh, and I'm a pioneer because this one said so, and this one," that person was wrong. They made a mistake. That's not what the title meant. It means thank you to just the people that went through the struggles. Can we just have that? Why do you need to feel like, because everybody's an icon now,
Everybody.
you want to step up and attach yourself to a title that you're not deserving? And it doesn't matter who you know, because you know me. And believe it or not, I'll give R.R. Chanel the credit for starting the icon status. But when it came to Pioneer, I had already received an award for being a pioneer. And that was as early as the 90s. Okay. I didn't start using the title until, I don't even know when did I start using the title of pioneer, like 2012 or 13? But it was way before that person deemed you.
Right.
You know, so it's like if I was one of those cartoons, you know, the cartoon, they go, "Mine, mine, mine, mine." That's what I want to say. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Get your own. Go somewhere.
We have another question.
Coco the Wonder Monkey.
We have another question here from a Karen Chang. She wants to know, how do you feel about the music that you hear at Ballroom now, today?
You know something? I'm going to say something. And told somebody this and I asked them what they would think. I started off this Zoom with the balls from the 18th century, right? Went all the way to Harlem, the 20s and 40s, to the drag balls of the 50s and 60s, then to the now balls, the house structured balls from 1972 to present day. I want to stop. I want y'all to think about this. This is just an idea because, you know, they'll be like, oh, Kevin is talking blah, 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 blah. No. The balls right now, if I was to say the house structure balls have ran its gamut, they have ran the longest out of the 18th century balls, the Roman balls, the 20s and 40s, and even the drag balls. It's time for a new ball system. And the reason why I say that is because you don't have hardly half the categories that we created anymore. And I'm gonna keep it real, like the labels category. See, because the children can't write illegal checks anymore. We're not talking about the ones that could afford certain designer outfits, but let's be for real. There's a lot of kids that used to do stunts, this, that, and other, and they know that if they go out there with a checkbook, especially a pioneer would never be caught writing an illegal check.
Never.
In their past. Okay. So
Music.
now I'm gonna say that now they're doing this thing open to all. I think the house structure ball 1972 should now become, this is it for 2022. And a new system should start. Because the system that's out there now, getting back to her question, the music, they're doing everything their way. I have no, nothing bad to say about it. I get tired of when I walk into a ball, and I don't go to balls that much. I'm going to the one May 7th in Richmond, Virginia. Y'all make sure y'all come out if you can. Kai Milan and Michael Haynes Ebony, the Royalty Ball, the Truth Ball. But I get tired of every time, like if I'm looking at a video or I'm looking at a live, like I just want to you make me just want to just go lay down somewhere and go to sleep. Not because you're tired, but because you exert so much energy that I get tired watching it.
How about DJs and producers? Do you have a favorite like house music DJ or producer that you?
Oh, let me see. House music. I'm going to give it to a member of my house, Frankie Paradise. Frankie! Frankie Paradise Omni. And I'm going to go and also talk about another member of my house, Andre Collins. Okay?
Oh, Andre.
So Andre and Frankie, and then I had, God bless the dead, T. Omni Scott from Better Days and Empire Roller Skating Ring and Zanzibar's. So I had a lot of celebrity DJs.
Ooh.
And I still have them. Frankie and Andre still doing their thing.
Or they come and judge our balls like Red Alert.
Oh, he's talking about, how dare I not mention the #1 national hip hop DJ who's been to the White House, DJ Red Alert, who actually has judged my balls. Lisa Morris from Warner Brothers back a couple of years back. Victor Sosa who was TV Guide magazine. Victor's doing a lot now. He just released a book, a cooking book, and he knows that my invite hasn't been extended yet, but he's listening. I'll get my invite after this Zoom.
Does anybody else have any questions? Derek, did you want to say anything? Did you have any words that you wanted to share with?
I'm kind of speechless.
Oh, you know something? I'm just gonna say this. Okay, I was getting ready to say that it should be a new ball system now, because a lot of the history from how the house structure ball started, it really doesn't mean that much to the new people of today. That's why when you asked me the question about the music, I could say, The music of today is okay. There's certain beats, like I like when they play certain records, like For Realness or something like that. You know, they give the effect and the feeling. But the old school music used to make us want to just take your clothes off and cartwheel across the floor and throw your leg around somebody's face or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You had that pump and get on in there and get that energy going. I hope that answers her question. But again, like I said, maybe it's time for a new system because a lot of people are doing this open to all. They should start calling like the house structure balls. Now we're in the open to all balls because everything is now open to all. You know, it's not nothing wrong with that, but you know, make up your own ball system, make up your own idealism and your ideologies and go from there because you know, half of them, you know, like, and I get tired of correcting these social climates. I get tired of correcting them. You know, and people like, okay, when I did the ballroom timeline, which showed you what year, the month the houses started, whatever, people say, you didn't put my house up. I used to be, I'm not responsible for you. I don't have to tell your story. You know what I mean?
Right.
Tell your own story. What you do is you send me the information, I'll add it on, I'll edit it. But don't sit up here telling me what I forgot because you weren't important to me. You only lasted 3 months anyway.
So I see here that Seven the Prince has a question.
Okay.
What are some of the best effects that you've seen at a ball?
There's one category that I missed that question gets answered. The category that was a grand prize category 90% of the time when it was had was ethnic effect. Bring it from a foreign country. Then you have people like Miss Pepper on a barge with guys with no shirts on, with the muscles carrying her like she was Cleopatra. Now they did that at her last ball, or before she died in 2001. That was her last ball. I was the MC for the old school categories, and Selvin was for the new school. But I'm saying those categories when Avis will come out with African stuff and back pieces, and Miss Dorian. There's to say, Kevin, Miss Dorian looked like she bought everything but the kitchen sink. I said, I saw the knobs and the water. She bought that too. So when I tell you that the effort and the energy, it was like, that was the categories. That was like, you waited all night long for grand prize. You could have went to sleep for 6 categories back when we like 81, 82, 83, 84, 85. You had like 14 categories for the drag queens and 18 categories for the guys. You could go to sleep between at least 10 of them and then wake up for grand prize, and you can't wait to see who's walking. When Miss Avis hit the floor or Dorian hit the floor, we had one named Miss Consuela. She came from California, and I swear I don't know how she got her, you know, the dresser with the lit mirror. I don't know how she got that on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
But she'd be in the back of the ballroom, in the Mark Ballroom, with a lit dresser. I said she must have unscrewed every bulb and put it in her suitcase and got it on over here on the East Coast. Then you had people like La Duchess Wong. You had Chipper Corey. Chipper Corey gave you African, this, that, and other. The ethnic effect category was like amazing. And then when I gave the very first major ball for Omni in '83, I had Space Age Illusion. I wanted to see a year from outfit from the year 2001. And God bless the dead, Jean Ebony Pendarvis walked grand and won in an authentic Gucci spacesuit. I don't know how he got it. All I know is he won. And then I had ethnic effects for the Femme Queens. Miss Avis won. It's really weird. I'm so honored. Miss Avis won at my very first ball in 1983. And the last ball she ever walked in 1994 was Kevin Omni's ball at the Martin Ballroom. And she won there too. She won for futuristic. But at my first ball, she won for ethnic effect. She came in with some smoke bombs and almost cleared out the whole ballroom. Okay.
I have a person here.
And mind you, where I was on East 86th Street, again, Kevin Omni bought the balls downtown in 1983. My second ball was 1984. And then I think the House of Extravaganza came in 87 and gave a ball at the Latin Quarters. And then I was in 89. So I always had Midtown
We
balls.
went to tracks. Then we went down further, right? To tracks.
Yeah, that was 89.
89, yeah.
Yeah. But the first two downtown balls was thanks to Omni.
Connie wants to know why were the balls happening at 5 a.m.?
I used to have my own theory. I used to think, I'm sorry. See, now you have beautiful transgender women. Back then, there was no word called transgender. It was drag queen. Some people call them dragoons. And maybe the dragoons did not want to be caught, like at 10 p.m. Or when people woke up like 8 p.m. to start hanging out because they would already be home by 1 o'clock in the afternoon and out of drag. See, back in the 70s, a lot of the drag queens, unless they look real as rain, they weren't coming out of the clubs and places like that up in drag. They have their shopping bags and throw their garments in and be boys. Times have changed, but at the same time, just yesterday, I read that this femme queen, transgender woman, was beat to death in Chicago, and her body was thrown in a trash can. And they said this was the 7th one this year. They said last year, 57 transgender women were murdered in the United States.
Gerald,
and my thing is, do people understand that they still don't accept gay people? Look at all these laws they're changing. What's her name? Betsy DeVos from Trump, when she took away the protection for gay students, for trans students, and the bully thing. She took the law away that protected them. So all that tells me is you got a war going on in Europe, or it could get worse, okay? And you got people killing people here left and right. You got people telling you, take your mask off, put your mask on. Don't wear them here, wear them there.
Sure.
And you got people like Coco the Wonder Monkey confusing people in the ballroom.
So if people have questions about Ballroom, where can they reach you? What's the best site
They
to reach?
can send me Facebook inbox.
Okay, and what's your name on Facebook?
My name is Kevin Omni Burris, Burrus.
Okay, so if anybody has any questions, now you know. This is a pioneer that knows the real deal, right? So if you have any questions, definitely reach out to Kevin.
Please don't forget the ball May 7th in Richmond, Virginia, if you're able to come. It's Icon Kai Milan, my son, and it's Michael Haynes, Ebony, my family, and I will be at the door.
Okay, I have one last question.
Okay.
So Nino is asking, how do you feel about non-binaries and the changes within the LGBTQI, LMNOZ,
The alphabet people.
Right, with the change in the future. So how do you feel about this whole move?
I'm gonna tell you how I feel. When I first came out, I was like, I already knew who I was when I was 10 years old in church, looking at the wrong things instead of the right things, according to who looks at it and whose eyes, see what I saw. Went to a lot of struggles. My family's religion, going to Holiness Church, this, that, and other, blah, blah, blah. Get to junior high school. I come out in the 70s. I love it. Then I get to high school. Now I'm ready to party. Go get a job, make good money, do things, blah, blah, blah. The bottom line is, what was the question again?
How do you feel about non-binaries and...
Okay, so now, after AIDS, where we're at now with this war and the pandemic and still losing people and everything is crazy and you have to be so careful. I think that it's good that these people express themselves, I think it's created more problems and more chaos and more confusion. Look how many people are getting murdered. I've never, okay, it's one thing to die from AIDS, but it's another thing when the count starts being almost equal because people are being murdered. And why they're being murdered is because of, like they used to say, Kevin, was it better for the balls to be underground? I thought so. We had more respect. You got these balls being presented by film and what have you. It's just opening up a more of an audience of haters that now can spook what you're doing. My biggest fear about a ball, I don't even want to say, because somebody might act on it. Ain't that fierce? In order to protect us, I won't even say it.
Got it.
When I hear about things like that, Candyland in Florida and different things, and I'm saying, they want to fight for rights and this, that, and the other. But look at okay, let's all come out of our closets. No, let's all go back in for a minute. Every time you get on Instagram or you get on Facebook, all you see is dick, titties, and ass. And it's always gay. Not always. We know that straight people do their little thing with the girls and guys, but 90% of anything that's sexual is always the gay kids. Why would you think that straight people who are straight and their kids, that they don't want them to see this, would go for that? And then you want to come out and say, well, this is our right to express ourselves, and I'm a LGBTQIAXOYZ. Like, really? All they look at us, they don't look at us for the doctors, the lawyers, the publishers, the musicians. They look at us, two guys cunging on Instagram or grabbing the ass, and the other one sitting there with his ass out because he done exercised his butt muscles. That's all you present yourself, and that's all we're worth. So how do I personally feel about the letters? Like I explained, someone told me, very close to me, shout out to Kevin Omni. No, it's not Sean that said it. Doctor, you have a problem with your pronouns. I'll tell you about my problem. If your name is Robbie, i.e. you're a trans man, I don't care about you being a trans man. You say your name is Robbie, I'm introducing you, you're Robbie. You're Sarah, you're Marilyn, you're John, you're whoever. I don't need to know whether you're the L, the G, the B, the Q, the T, the I, the A. First of all, I'm not going to bed with you. So I'm not interested in your sexuality, binary, non-conforming, or whatever. Your name is Randy, it's Randy. If your name is Sarah, it's Sarah. All of this has created more of a problem. And unfortunately, the trans community, which I respect, because there's some babes, I needed to say that. Because if I don't tell them how good they look, they get sensitive and pissed off. I had people, even in Europe, call me transphobic. And I told them, so what? I was in a dress and a wig umpteen years ago. But I'm transphobic. So what if the father of my house in Atlanta is a trans man? So what if I have an emperor in New York as a trans man? I'm transphobic. I don't need to explain to you to make you feel good. I respect everybody. I don't put you down. I worry about you. That's why I have a burial fund. I worry about you because I think it would be better if they weren't, if gay people in general weren't up there showing their asses, their dick prints, and their titties. It got to come above the bra. Okay, fine if you perform, and ain't nothing wrong with that, and you look good. But 24/7, that's all the world sees. And if you're a mother, a grandmother, or a father, you don't want your kids looking at that. But how do you keep your little 9-year-olds and 10-year-olds and 12 and 13 and 14? Everybody is like walking around in a society that it's take the bananas there. You like bananas? I'm just like we're in a society where there's no
Kevin,
humility or respect. Yeah.
Can I have a banana too?
You know what? See, I just finished talking about sexuality in the gay community,
Forget about
and
that banana.
he asked me for a banana.
Come and get it.
That banana.
Derek said, "Come and get
Dinner's
it."
ready.
Derek said, "Dinner's ready." Derek, take both of those bananas. Take
We
the
wanna
bananas and take the rest of the fruit home.
wrap it up, Kevin. I think Leighton wants to say something. Like,
Please.
Go ahead, Leighton.
Yeah. Firstly, thank you so much. You're like so amazing. You're so fab. And my last question is, what would be your advice to, like, for instance, we're a new community. So what advice could you give us to try and be like an authentic scene and to like, because it's really important for me to do things correctly and connecting with like yourself and even Felix and stuff. It's really like opened our eyes and stuff. So yeah.
Leighton, I'll tell you in a nutshell, document everything. Document everything and don't be willing to sell unless it's like, keep your intellectual property. Keep it as long as you can. And for someone interested in your intellectual property, let it go to the highest bidder that's going to help you. Not that you're going to sell your people out, that's going to help you do more and do better. And you should benefit from it. Because if you're laying your groundwork the correct way, you deserve that. I don't look at any of these people. Firstly, let me give you a real quick one. Somebody said, well, Kevin, they should have had you imposed. They should have. First of all, they couldn't afford me. That's number one. Number two, I live my life. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. I can laugh and fall out. And I can say things like, Coco the Wonder Monkey, or this is an old one. There's someone, that is a social climber that I say look like the Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And that's about as evil as I'm gonna get. Other than that, I love everybody. I want people to be happy. And like I said, if you want to be a historian, if you want to be someone or whatever, just get your information together, get it correct, and see, you being a new community or whatever, document your community, document the people that's there, document what people are doing. Make sure that there's some kind of written place they can go and learn their history and what have you, and et cetera, and just be proud of what it is that you do.
What we're doing right now, Leighton, is creating history, right? So the same thing that we did and that we're doing right now, 30 years later, this is what you're going to be doing 30 years from now, hopefully, right? So just
you know what? I know you're getting ready to go, but do you want to ask Derek anything other than, so he could give you a quick synopsis of when he started real quick, just to get some more? Because I have to run to the bathroom. Derek, come on over.
Thank you, Kevin.
I love you guys.
Thank you, Kevin. It's an honor.
Thank you.
I want to thank Derek. I just want to thank everybody for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Follow us also on Old School Ballroom, right? I want to thank Jose Roldan, who's my assistant and social media manager, who's the one who you mostly are saying hello to when you say hello to me. And Derek, do you have any final words that you want to share with the ballroom community, especially the Welsh ballroom community?
Yeah. Hey guys.
Hi.
So I'm Kevin's like maybe the second person he inducted into the house. Been around for a long time. I'm, won a couple things, had a lot of fun, but I mostly worked in corporate America for most of my life, and so I didn't have an opportunity to walk a lot of balls, but the balls that I did walk, I tended to win or do well at. But Kevin's a great person. He's a great historian. He's taught. He's spoken his words to so many people. I personally as one who jumps in and out of the circuit, I just feel like things are are hijacked now. Like no one is really taking anything that's, you know, the crux of the situation, the crux of the information, and taking that and moving it forward. You know, people are making their own stories or hijacking the story, you know, and that's, you know, that's unfortunate, because it tends to blur the lines and people get confused. And one thing great about Kevin is that he'll always let you know exactly what the real deal is. So I've been friends with Kevin since I think he had me walking balls before I graduated high school. That's another story. But I did win my first face. I used to walk face. I, you know, didn't walk it too long. I needed another outlet, so I started doing design work, and we won the love balls, both of them for that. But you know, Kevin has been an inspiration to me. You know, get your butt up, go to work. Things that my parents said that I never listened to, but he says it. I'm like, yeah, I got to go to work. I got to go. You know, and you know, I've been very successful in my life, and that is because Kevin keeps it real. So if you find people that, you know, wherever you are, you know, you connect with them, just make sure you get people who are going to not only love you, but give you the information that you need, but also the truth, even if that hurts, right? As you start developing the cycle wherever you are in Wales or wherever you are, you know, just make sure you start documenting, because lines get blurred at a certain point and things shift, right? But you know, if you begin with documenting not just video, but recording information and dates and places and all of that stuff, when you decide to write your story, it'll be 100% accurate. When you start developing your own house and start bringing in new and more members, you share these stories with them, because as you can tell now, it's just a free for all, you know. And I like structure. I'm a very structured person. So this whole spiraling it's very concerning to me. Even someone who shifted in and out of the scene, but all I can say is welcome to the ball community. Have fun, be creative, let whatever you want to do, just be that. Whatever you want to be, you find that category and be it. Be the best at it, right? I want to hear about your wins, but your losses are also important, because that'll help drive you to the win, right? So have a ball. That's all I got to say.
Thank you both. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Leighton, for doing this.
Yes.